Are you tired of worrying about things you cannot change? Are you tired of losing sleep over your boss's opinion, over what someone said about you, over news that you cannot stop, over a future you cannot predict? You are not alone. Most people live this way, every day. They wake up and immediately reach for their phone. They check the news. They check their messages. They check how many people liked their post. And before the day even begins, they are already anxious, already tired, already behind. This is a graded lesson for English learners who want a calmer, stronger mind. Today I want to give you something that a man discovered over 2,000 years ago. A man who had nothing, no money, no freedom, no healthy body. A man who was a slave. And yet, by the time he died, people across the Roman Empire called him the wisest man alive. His name was Epictetus, and what he discovered is so simple that most people miss it. So powerful that it changed the lives of emperors, soldiers, and prisoners. And so forgotten that almost nobody teaches it today. Not in schools, not in universities, not in the books your parents gave you. Here's the truth. Everything in life falls into two kinds of things. Things that are up to you, and things that are not up to you. And that is it. Simple as that. But living it, truly living it, is one of the hardest things a human being can do. Think about Daniel. Daniel is 34 years old. He works in marketing. He is smart. He works hard. He cares about his job. But every morning, Daniel wakes up with a tight feeling in his chest. He checks his email before he gets out of bed. He worries about whether his boss liked his presentation. He refreshes his social media to see if people are responding to his posts. He replays conversations in his head. He worries about what might go wrong next week, next month, next year. Daniel is exhausted. And here is what nobody told Daniel. Almost everything he worries about is outside his control. Epictetus saw this same pattern in Rome. Thousands of years before Daniel, before smartphones, before social media, human beings were doing the exact same thing, giving their energy to things that were never theirs to control. Today that changes. By the end of this lesson, you will know exactly what belongs to you and what does not. You will have a simple, powerful way to divide your life into what you can act on and what you must release. And you will see that the calmest, strongest people in history were not calm because life was easy for them. They were calm because they understood one thing that most people never learn. Control what is yours. Release what is not. If this sounds like the lesson you have been waiting for, subscribe right now. New lessons like this one come every week. And today we begin. Lesson 1. The world is divided into two. There is a question Epictetus asked his students on the first day of class. Not, what do you want to achieve? Not, what are your goals? Not, where do you see yourself in 10 years? He asked this, what is up to you? Most students had no answer. They had never thought about it. And that, Epictetus said, was the problem. That was the root of almost every form of human suffering. Not poverty, not illness, not failure. The root was this: people spend their lives fighting for control over things that were never theirs to control. Listen carefully. Epictetus was born around 50 AD in a small city called Hierapolis, in what is now the country of Turkey. Born into slavery, not freedom. He was born a slave, sold, transported to Rome, given to a man named Epaphroditus, an official in the court of Emperor Nero. Epaphroditus was not a kind man. One day, to test his slave, to see if this Stoic philosophy was real or just words, Epaphroditus grabbed Epictetus by the leg and began to twist it, to break it. Epictetus looked at him calmly and said, "You are going to break it." Epaphroditus twisted harder. "I told you, Epictetus said. "It will break." And it broke. Epictetus looked at his master and said, "Did I not tell you it would break?" No screaming, no anger, no begging. Just a calm statement of fact. Now, most people hear this story and think that is impossible. No normal person could do that. But they are missing the point. Epictetus was not pretending the pain did not exist. He was not numb. He was not broken inside. He was calm because he had already decided something. He had decided that his body was not up to him. His leg was taken. His freedom was taken. His master could take everything on the outside. But there was one thing Epaphroditus could never touch: the mind of Epictetus. And still he moved forward. He learned. He thought. He chose how to respond to every single moment. And that, he said, was the only thing that was ever truly his. A weak mind fights what it cannot change. A strong mind changes what it can and releases the rest. Think about your own life right now. Think about the last time you felt angry or anxious or frustrated. Think about what was causing that feeling. Was it something someone else did? Something someone said? A result you did not get? A plan that fell apart? Now ask yourself, was any of that truly up to you? Not whether you worked hard, not whether you tried, but the final result, the other person's behavior, the way things turned out. Was that yours to control? In almost every case, the answer is no. The point was never powerlessness. He said it to set you free. Because the moment you stop fighting for control over things outside your circle, you get all of that energy back. And you can use it for the only place where your effort actually matters: inside. Your judgment, your response, your effort, your character. These are yours, all of them, every single day. Nobody can take them unless you let them. Epictetus had no freedom, no money, no healthy leg, and he was the freest man in Rome. Lesson 2. Your opinion is the problem, not the event. Here is something that will change the way you see your entire life. You do not suffer because of what happens to you. You suffer because of what you think about what happens to you. Read that again slowly. Because most people spend years, sometimes their whole life, never understanding this one idea. Epictetus wrote it clearly. He said, "Men are disturbed not by the things which happen, but by the opinions about the things." Not the event, the opinion. Not the traffic jam, the belief that the traffic jam should not exist. Not the critical email from your boss, the belief that your boss has no right to criticize you. Not the bad news, your judgment that this bad news is a disaster. Consider this. Imagine you are driving to work. The road is blocked. Cars are not moving. You sit there for 40 minutes. Now 2 people are in that traffic jam. The first person grips the wheel. His jaw is tight. He is thinking, "This is a disaster. I'm going to be late. Why does this always happen to me? This city is impossible. My whole morning is ruined." He arrives at work already exhausted, already angry. His whole day is poisoned before it begins. The second person sits back. She takes a breath. She thinks the road is blocked. "I cannot move it. What can I do right now?" She turns on an audio lesson. She thinks about a problem she wants to solve. She arrives at work calm, having used 40 minutes she did not expect to have. Same traffic jam, same facts. Completely different experience. The event did not change. The opinion changed everything. The idea is not new. In fact, here is something remarkable. In the 20th century, a psychologist named Albert Ellis built an entire system of therapy around this exact insight. He called it rational emotive behavior therapy. It became one of the foundations of modern psychology. Cognitive behavioral therapy, which millions of people use today to treat anxiety and depression, grew from the same root. And where did Ellis say he got the idea? From Epictetus, a therapist in New York City in the 1950s, a slave philosopher in Rome in 60 AD, 2,000 years apart, the same discovery. If your thoughts are causing your suffering, then changing your thoughts can end your suffering. Not instantly, not perfectly, but genuinely and permanently. An anxious person controls nothing and worries about everything. A calm person controls one thing themselves. This does not mean you pretend bad things are good. It does not mean you smile when you are in pain. Epictetus was a practical man. Epictetus rejected denial. He taught clarity. He taught you to look at a situation and ask what is actually happening here. And then ask, what is my opinion about what is happening? And then ask, is that opinion helping me, or is it making things worse? If your opinion is based on something outside your control, it is costing you energy you cannot afford to lose. Here is a simple test you can use from today. When you feel anxious, frustrated, or angry, stop. Ask yourself 2 questions. First, what exactly is bothering me? Second, is it something I can change, or is it something outside my control? If you can change it, change it. Right now. Take action. Do something. If you cannot change it, your opinion about it is the only thing making you suffer. And you can change that. Change your opinion. Change your life. Lesson 3. The Slave Who Taught Emperors. After his leg healed, Epictetus did something remarkable. He did not run. He did not plot revenge. No bitterness, no lingering anger at the man who broke him. He studied. He listened. He thought. And when he was eventually freed, he did not celebrate by chasing money or status or comfort. He opened a school. In a small city called Nicopolis on the western coast of Greece, Epictetus set up a room with a lamp and a simple mat. No grand building, no wealthy donors, no impressive title. Just a man, a lamp, and ideas that had kept him alive through the worst years of his life. And people came. Young men from across the Roman Empire, sons of senators, students who had everything Epictetus had never had. Wealth, status, freedom. They sat on the floor of his simple room and listened to a former slave tell them how to live. Stay with me. One of the people deeply shaped by Epictetus's ideas was a man named Marcus Aurelius. Marcus was not a student in Nicopolis. He lived a century after Epictetus. But he read the teachings carefully, and he carried them into one of the hardest jobs in the ancient world, Emperor of Rome. Marcus Aurelius ruled Rome from 161 to 180 AD. For almost his entire reign, he was at war. Germanic tribes on the northern border, a deadly plague spreading through the empire, killing thousands every day. Political enemies inside his own court, his own children dying young. He had every reason to break, to rage, to despair. Instead, he kept a private journal. Not a journal of victories, not a record of his achievements. A journal where he talked to himself, where he reminded himself day after day to focus only on what was up to him, to do his duty, to release the rest. Those private notes became the book we now call Meditations. People still read it today, not because Marcus was perfect, far from it, but because the struggle he wrote about is the same struggle every human being faces. Every morning he faced things he could not control, and he chose every morning to focus only on what he could. He moved, he decided, he acted, he led. That is what the philosophy of Epictetus gave him. Not a perfect life, not an easy life, a clear life. A life where he knew exactly where to put his energy and exactly what to let go. Picture your own mornings. You wake up. Before your feet touch the floor, your mind is already running. Today's meeting, yesterday's argument, the project that is behind schedule, the person who did not reply to your message, the news, the weather, the week ahead. How much of that list is actually up to you? The meeting you can prepare. You can show up. What others decide is not yours to control. The argument you can choose how you respond. What the other person felt is not yours to choose. The project you can work on your part. Every variable is beyond your reach. The person who did not reply, you sent the message. That part is done. The rest is theirs. A slave built a school. An emperor wrote in a journal. Both chose the same discipline, both of them choosing every single day to put their energy only where it truly belonged. 1. Daily discipline. Chosen freely. Every morning. This is not weakness, not surrender. This is the most powerful decision a human being can make. Because the moment you stop spending energy on what you cannot change, you suddenly have more energy than you have had in years. And all of it goes toward the one place where you can actually make a difference. Yourself. Lesson 4. Train yourself to be uncomfortable. Most people want comfort. Every system around you is designed to give it to you. Your phone delivers entertainment the moment you feel bored. Your food arrives in minutes. Your heating adjusts automatically. Your feed shows you only what you already agree with. Every friction, every discomfort, every moment of waiting has been engineered away. And this is making you weaker. Not physically weaker, mentally weaker. Because when everything is comfortable, you never find out what you are actually made of. You never discover where your real edges are. You never build the kind of inner strength that holds when life stops being convenient. Epictetus knew this, and he did something about it. He told his students to practice discomfort deliberately, not because suffering is good, not because pain is noble, but because a person who has never sat with discomfort is terrified of it. And a person who is terrified of discomfort will do anything to avoid it. They will avoid hard conversations. They will avoid difficult decisions. They will stay in bad situations because leaving feels uncomfortable. They will never take the risk that could change their life. Here's what most people miss. Comfort is not the goal. Freedom is the goal. And real freedom requires that you are not controlled by your need for comfort. Epictetus had his students skip meals occasionally, not because food was wrong, but to prove to themselves that hunger would not break them. He had them sleep on hard surfaces, wear simple clothes in cold weather, sit with boredom without reaching for distraction. Not to torture themselves, to train themselves. It is not painful, nothing heroic about it. It is just a practice, a daily reminder that you are stronger than your discomfort, that the uncomfortable thing will not kill you, that you can choose to do it anyway. Now think about Viktor Frankl. Frankl was an Austrian psychiatrist. In 1942, he was arrested by the Nazis and sent to a concentration camp. He lost his wife. He lost his manuscript. He lost everything he had built. For 3 years, he lived in conditions that most of us cannot imagine. And in those camps, he observed something. Some prisoners broke completely. They gave up. They stopped eating. They stopped moving. They died not from disease or violence, but from hopelessness. They had decided that nothing was up to them anymore, that they had no control over anything. But other prisoners survived. They found meaning in small things. A piece of bread shared with a stranger. A moment of beauty in a winter sky. A decision made every single morning about how to respond to what was happening to them. Frankl wrote about this in his book. He said that the last of human freedoms is the freedom to choose your attitude in any given set of circumstances. The guards could control everything around him. They could not control the space between what happened to him and how he chose to respond. That space. Epictetus lived in that space. So did Marcus Aurelius. That is where every person who has ever faced something impossible and survived it lived. Most people wait until disaster arrives to discover if they have that inner strength. A Stoic builds it before the disaster comes. No concentration camp is required to practice this. You just need today. Put the phone down for 1 hour. Sit with the silence. Let the boredom come. Do not escape it. Feel it, and then notice that it did not break you. Skip the comfortable option once this week. Take the harder conversation. Do the task you have been avoiding. Stay in the discomfort just long enough to remember that you are stronger than it. You are stronger than your comfort zone. Epictetus knew it. Frankl proved it. Now it is your turn. If this lesson is changing the way you think, hit subscribe. There is more coming every week. Lessons like this one. Ancient wisdom, simple English ideas that actually matter. Now let's keep going. Lesson 5. Play your role. Don't worry about the applause. Epictetus taught that every person in this world plays a role. Not a role you chose necessarily. Some roles you were born into. Some roles you walked into without knowing. Parent, child, friend, worker, citizen, partner. You play many roles at the same time, and each role comes with duties, things you are supposed to do, ways you are supposed to show up. Here is what most people get wrong about their roles. They confuse the effort with the outcome. They think that if they do their part well enough, perfectly enough, consistently enough, the result will be exactly what they want. The relationship will be perfect. The child will turn out exactly right. The boss will recognize them. The project will succeed. The people they love will love them back in exactly the way they need. And when the outcome does not match the effort, they feel cheated, betrayed, like something has gone wrong, like they failed. But Epictetus said something different. He said your role is yours. The result is not. Hear me on this. Think about Sarah. Sarah is 42 years old. She has an adult son named Michael. Michael is 26. He makes choices Sarah does not understand. He dropped out of a program she paid for. He moved to a city she thinks is wrong for him. He is dating someone she does not approve of. He rarely calls. Sarah cannot eat properly. She cannot sleep. She lies awake at 3 in the morning running through every conversation she has had with Michael, every decision she made when he was young, every moment she wonders if she could have done something differently. She loves her son completely, and that love is turning into something that is hurting her. Because Sarah has confused her role with her control. Sarah's role was to love Michael, to teach him, to give him tools, to be honest with him, to be there when he needed her. She did all of those things. She did her role. What Michael does with his life is not her role. It never was. You can be a slave to your circumstances, or you can be the master of your own mind. You cannot be both. Coldness is not what this is. This is not giving up on the people you love. It is the opposite. When you release your grip on outcomes you cannot control, you stop being anxious all the time. You stop being angry all the time. You become calmer, more present. And the people around you, your children, your friends, your colleagues, they feel the difference. A parent who is constantly trying to control their child's choices pushes that child away. A parent who loves without conditions, who offers guidance without demands, who trusts their child to live their own life. That parent stays close. The effort is yours. The response belongs to someone else. If your opinion is based on something outside your control, it is costing you energy you cannot afford to lose. Think about your own roles right now. At work, you can prepare well, show up fully, do your best work. The promotion is not yours to decide. At home, you can be present, be honest, be kind. Their appreciation is not yours to command. In friendship, you can reach out, listen, be loyal. You cannot control whether the other person does the same. If you did your role well, that is not failure. Doing your role well is the whole point. Caring less was never the lesson. He taught them to care about the right things, to put their full heart into what was theirs to do, and then to let the universe handle the rest. Do your part, all of it. Then let the result go. That is not weakness. That is the discipline of a free mind. Lesson 6. The man who proved Epictetus right. In 1965, a United States Navy pilot named James Stockdale was flying a mission over North Vietnam when his plane was shot down. He ejected. He landed in a small village. He was captured immediately. For the next 7.5 years, James Stockdale was a prisoner of war in a place called the Hanoi Hilton. A prison. Dark cells. Isolation. Torture. No communication with the outside world. No news of the war. No news of his family. No knowledge of when or whether it would ever end. He was the highest-ranking American military officer in that prison. That made him a target. The guards tortured him repeatedly to break his resistance, to make him say things on camera that could be used as propaganda. They wanted his mind. They could not get it. How did he survive? Before his final mission, Stockdale had been studying philosophy at Stanford University. His professor introduced him to a small book, a thin book, a collection of teachings from a former slave in ancient Rome. The Enchiridion of Epictetus. Stockdale read it. He thought about it. And somewhere over the Pacific Ocean, flying back to his aircraft carrier after that class, he looked down at the water and thought, I am going to need this. Stockdale had no idea how soon. When his plane went down when he hit the ground and the soldiers grabbed him, James Stockdale told himself one thing. He said, I am leaving the world of technology and entering the world of Epictetus. 7.5 years. He woke up in that cell every morning and he asked himself the same question Epictetus asked his students 2,000 years earlier. What is up to me today? Not when will this end? Not why is this happening? Not will I ever see my family again? Those questions had no answers he could reach. They would only destroy him. That one question. Whether he gave the guards the propaganda they wanted, that was his to decide. The signals he tapped through the prison walls to communicate with other prisoners, those were his. He could control whether he maintained his dignity. The small, daily decision to keep going, that too was his. Let me say it again. The torture was not his to stop. The darkness was not his to remove. He could not control the years, but he controlled himself, completely, every single day. He organized resistance among the prisoners. He built a code. He kept men alive not just physically, but mentally by giving them structure, purpose, and the knowledge that someone was still leading, still thinking, still holding on. When Stockdale was finally released in 1973, he walked off the plane under his own power. He later became a vice presidential candidate. He wrote books. He lectured at universities. He spent the rest of his life telling anyone who would listen about a slave philosopher from ancient Rome who had saved his life in a prison cell in Vietnam. He had no food, no light, no freedom. But he had Epictetus, and that was enough. Control what is yours. Release what is not. Epictetus did not build this philosophy for comfortable times. This is a philosophy for the moments when everything falls apart, when the plan fails, when the person leaves, when the diagnosis comes, when the door closes, when the ground disappears beneath you. In those moments, there is one question that will save you. The only question worth asking. Not everything, not the big picture, not the final outcome. Just right now. Just today. Just this moment. That question is an anchor. It will hold you when nothing else can. If Stockdale could find that anchor in a prison cell in Hanoi, in the dark, in pain, with no end in sight, then you can find it too. Wherever you are, whatever you are facing. The philosophy works. Stockdale proved it. Lesson 7. Hold life with an open hand. Epictetus used a simple image to explain one of his most important ideas. He said, imagine you are at a feast. The dishes come around the table. When a dish reaches you, take some. Enjoy it. When it passes, let it go. Do not grab it. Do not demand it come back. Do not ruin your evening because the dish moved on. There will be other dishes. And if there are not, the evening was still good while it lasted. That is how he said we should hold everything in life. Not clutching. Not gripping. Not white-knuckling our way through every relationship, every job, every plan, every season of life. But holding with an open hand. Receiving what comes. Releasing what goes. Take a breath. Think about something you are holding too tightly right now. Maybe it is a relationship that has started to feel different and you are terrified of losing it. Maybe it is a version of yourself, a younger self, a healthier self, a self that felt more certain about the future. Perhaps it is a plan you made years ago that life has quietly refused to follow. Or perhaps it is someone's opinion of you, and you have been carrying their judgment like a stone in your chest for months. You know what it is. No need to name it here. Now ask yourself honestly, is holding it this tightly making it better, or is the gripping itself causing the damage? Here is something Epictetus understood that most of us forget in the middle of modern life. We live in a world now that is designed to make you grip harder. Social media shows you what other people have, and your hand closes around what you want but do not have. The news tells you everything that could go wrong, and your hand closes around your fear. Advertisements tell you that you are incomplete without this product, this body, this lifestyle. And your hand closes around the gap between who you are and who you are supposed to be. The grip is exhausting. No peace in it. No freedom either. That is not living. It is a performance of control over things that were never yours to control. Epictetus had another image. He called it the returning traveler. He said, imagine you are staying at an inn. You arrive tired. The bed is warm. The food is good. The fire is bright. You enjoy it. You rest. And in the morning, when the innkeeper says your time is up, you pack your things and you leave. You do not burn the inn down because you have to go. No cursing the innkeeper. No pretending you were never going to leave. You arrived. You received what was offered. You left. He said that is how we should approach everything. The good job, the healthy body, the people we love, the good years. We enjoy them fully, completely, with our whole heart because we know they are not permanent. And when they change, when they pass, we do not fall apart, because we were never gripping. It is not about caring less. Loving less is not the point. It is about loving without conditions, receiving without ownership, being present without the terror of loss. An open hand can receive everything. A closed fist holds only itself. The things you love most in your life, your relationships, your work, your health, your peace, they are more beautiful when you hold them gently. When you appreciate them because they are here, not because you are forcing them to stay. Control what is yours. Release what is not. Epictetus taught it from his simple room in Nicopolis. Marcus Aurelius practiced it on the battlefield. James Stockdale kept it alive in the dark of a prison cell in Vietnam. And it is available to you. Right now. Today. Not when your situation improves. Not when life gets easier. Not when you finally feel ready. Right now. Open your hand. See what is actually there. And let yourself be grateful for it without needing it to be anything other than what it is. We have covered a lot of ground today. From a slave in ancient Rome who refused to break, to an emperor who wrote in a private journal to remind himself what mattered, to a prisoner of war in Vietnam who survived 7 years of darkness because he had read a thin book by that same slave. The thread connecting all of them is one idea, one practice, one choice made every single morning. Let me bring it all together for you now. 1. The world is divided into 2 things that are yours to control and things that are not. Your judgment, your effort, your response, your character. Those are yours. Everything else, other people's behavior, the outcome of your work, what others think of you, the way events turn out, those are not yours. Stop spending your energy there. You will never get that energy back. 2. Your suffering does not come from events. It comes from your opinions about events. The traffic jam is not the problem. Your thought that it should not exist is the problem. The critical email is not the problem. Your belief that you should never be criticized is the problem. Change the opinion. You change the experience. Ancient wisdom. And modern psychology spent 100 years rediscovering it. 3. Freedom requires discomfort training. A person who cannot sit with discomfort is controlled by their need to avoid it. The hard conversation goes unspoken. The difficult decision gets delayed. The life-changing risk stays untaken. Practice sitting with small discomforts daily, not to suffer, to prove to yourself that you are stronger than your comfort zone, because you are. 4. Hold life with an open hand. The job, the relationship, the plan, the good years. Receive them fully, enjoy them completely, and hold them gently knowing they are not permanent, because they were never permanent. Nothing is. The people who live with the most peace are not the people who have the most. They are the people who grip the least. Epictetus had nothing. No freedom, no money, no healthy body. And he was the freest man in Rome. No coincidence. That is the result of a practice. A daily, deliberate, unglamorous practice of choosing where to put your attention and where to let go. This does not come naturally. It takes work. Your mind will resist it every single day. The pull toward worry is real. The urge to grip is natural. It will want to fight. That is what minds do. But you can train it. The way Epictetus trained his. The way Marcus Aurelius trained his. The way Stockdale kept his trained in a prison cell with no light and no end in sight. You train it by asking one question every time the anxiety comes. Every time the frustration rises, every time you feel yourself reaching for something you cannot control. What is up to me right now? Just that. Just that question. No magic in it. It is a practice. And every time you ask it, you get a little stronger, a little freer, a little more like the person Epictetus believed every human being had the capacity to become. Control what is yours. Release what is not. Keep listening every day to improve your English and grow your mind. Thank you for spending this time with me today. Tell me in the comments what is one thing you have been trying to control that is not yours to control. Write it down. Saying it out loud is the first step to releasing it. If this lesson moved you, share it with one person who needs it. And come back next week. There is more where this came from. Take care of your mind. It is the only thing that was ever truly yours. Goodbye.